Are you down to talk about your marriage?
Yeah, we could talk about it. Obviously, I'll be very careful on what I say.
Sure. You don't have to share anything you don't want to.
No problem.
But you said that you were married, and you said, why did it end for you? What was that? What was that journey?
Do you know what? The unfortunate thing is that it's one of those typical cases where there were red flags that I just thought, oh, it's fine. It's fine. And then later in the marriage, it was like, oh no, this isn't changing. Oh, okay, this is who you are. Okay, cool. I'm in this for life, basically. So we met when we were 15. We got together when we were 18. Wow. We got married at 22. And the marriage ended when we were 27. So we gave it 5 years. And it was one of those, we were young, we were in love, we thought this is it, we're happy. My mum was against it personally. She was like, you're too young, you're going to find other men out there. And I just believed I wouldn't. I was like, I've done uni, like I'm finished. I'm done meeting all men. God, I thought I was grown. So yeah, it was one of those situations where we were very much in the church. We used to be youth pastors.
Yep.
And because we engaged in premarital sex, the advice was very much get married ASAP, like just honor God with your marriage. So obviously the church did try to do the counseling, but you know, if you don't really have the expertise, you do you know what I mean? So looking back, I feel like they should have known, guys, I don't know if this is really gonna work.
Okay.
As people who had observed us watching growing up and everything. But it was just very much, it just felt like the focus was the fact that we had had sex. And it was just about cleaning this up. It wasn't really about, are these two ready to actually make a marriage work? And so we got married, and it was difficult probably from about 1.5 years in. Both of us are broken. We had a dynamic where I'm an anxious attacher. He is controlling, you know? And I know I'm using terms that are like big, and you might be like, that's a bit unfair to use, but it's more so to just explain the dynamic that we had that went on for a very long time. Okay. I grew up in a Ugandan home, very strict, so I know how to submit. So for me, if he wakes up and he's in a bad mood and he wants me to do something, guess what? I'm going to do it because I'm used to that. I'm used to just
serving the man.
Serving a man.
Sure.
Yeah. Ugandan culture is very patriarchal. Men get fed before children.
Really?
Yeah. I've grown up watching my mum serve my dad. I've grown up kneeling to my dad. If my mum's cooked and she gives that food to me on a tray, I'm giving it to my dad on my knees.
That's it. And to be fair, I guess in Nigerian household, the man of the house would be served first.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like he would eat and the others wouldn't, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah, okay, just very strict. So I just knew submission wasn't new to me. Like, it, you know, I'm not one of them feminists that's like, oh, girl power. I don't really care. Like, I'm happy to be the neck while you be the head. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's fine, you know? So, yeah, we just ran into difficulties, mainly around, of course, intimacy. And there was just a lot, for me, in my experience, what I felt was control. And so I felt like a bird trapped in a cage, and it got to a point where I was like, I want to be free. But the way I went about getting that freedom was low level.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for honesty. So in that sense, how did you go? Like, who did you have? Like, did you cheat with the affair? Was it like a one time? Was it an ongoing thing?
It wasn't one time, but it wasn't for very long. It was a short period of time. It was a work colleague.
Right.
I'm trying to remember. I had my daughter, but I couldn't work straight away after I had her. I had my daughter whilst I was getting my teaching certificate. Right. So because I was pregnant on the course, no school gave me a job because obviously I'm pregnant. They knew I was going to go off maternity. So I took the first year out and I just looked after my daughter. So when I finally went back to work, it was like, I've been out for a year. I remember just feeling like I had a spring in my step because it felt like I've got to get up and be somewhere now. I'm Miss so-and-so at work. Do you know what I mean? So it felt good. And then, I met this guy and we hit it off. And at first it was all very innocent, just how you get to know someone. It was a whole group of us that managed to make friends, and we would all hang out. He was the only African and the rest were Caribbean. It was about 6 of us. So we got on a certain frequency that, you know, the others didn't.
Similar backgrounds,
all similar jokes, all that kind of stuff. And then, I was a teacher at the time. He was a teaching assistant. He would come into my classroom. He would come into my classroom even when he wasn't supposed to be in my classroom, because he had his own timetable. So then before you know it, you're having conversations that are separate from everyone, and he made it obvious that he found me attractive. I found him attractive too.
What did you say?
And then I eventually told him I found him attractive too.
Right.
So now it's gone from, oh, this is innocent to, oh shit, we both know we find each other attractive and we're still talking. And it was the slipperiest slope I've ever been on. It was so quick. Like, I met him September. It was by December that we had slept together.
A few months. Thank you for sharing that. For being open and honest about that. So in that sense, I think the first question I'll ask, I think a lot of guys would think about, did it happen because of who he is? Or did it happen because of who you were? Was it because he was a guy who was just so great that you can help yourself with? Mm-hmm. Or did it happen because like you were open to that and he just happened to be the guy that you did that with?
I think it happened because of me.
Okay.
Because of me, as in that man wasn't special. He wasn't someone to write home about and be like, oh my gosh, no. He was a normal man, but I was so far gone in the marriage in terms of, I grew up in the church and I told you I grew up in a strict home. So like I hadn't even been to carnival, hadn't done a girls trip. Do you know what I mean? And I'm a teacher now. I'm like 26 and like people are like, you're a mom, you're a youth pastor, you're married and you're a teacher. I remember someone saying that to me and they were like, you're so responsible. You're 26. Like, and I remember thinking, no, for real. So it's like these desires started growing in me. And when we would hang out, I saw freedom in him, that guy. You understand? Right. He had a carefree life. He could go out, and he was dancer as well.
Okay.
So that was the first time I saw like leg work, for example, like, and I'm like, wow, what dance move is that? He introduced me to Burna Boy, all of this. So I used to be in a dance group as well when I was like 14 and I stopped obviously when I got married. So it felt like he was bringing back parts of myself that I had lost, but I was also seeing a visual portrayal of someone living authentically as themselves. And I was jealous of it because I'm caged in now. I'm married. I've made all these decisions. I've got a child. I can't just do what I want. I kind of have to live through you, but I made that man so special. I wanted him so badly. But deep down, I knew he was never going to be my next man. He was never going to be my husband. But I can't tell you how the desire was so intense. It was like a drug. Like when it was half time, I remember missing work. What am I missing work for? It's half time, bro. Go and be at home resting. But it felt like home was the work and there was where I rest.
Sure.
At home, my daughter was my joy, Yeah.
Do you think because I know you said, for example, like, and it always starts small. Little conversation, little look, start spending time, start having conversations outside of the group. And you said there was one point where he'd started come to your classroom when he didn't need to be there. And, he said that he found you attractive. Now, technically, no boundary had been crossed. But do you think if you had set
a tone,
certain boundaries,
absolutely, it wouldn't happen.
That it wouldn't have happened? So, like, for example, like when he started visiting you, if you started being like,
hey, you're not supposed to be here right now.
Right. Even if you find him attractive.
Yeah.
Do you think it would have happened?
I could have nipped it in the bud, for sure. I could have nipped it in the
bud.
As in,
do you think you would have still made that choice if you had set those boundaries?
As in, do I think he would have still made the choice?
Do you think you would have? Like, you think if you set those boundaries, it wouldn't have happened?
No, absolutely not.
So I have to be real with you here.
Yeah. No, I know exactly how I got there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have to be real with you here. We said about twerking with your ass out in the club, going on girls trips, etc. That's why guys don't like it. That's why they have an issue.
Because it opens the door.
Because thing is, we can't, I'll be honest with you, right? Like, I've never stepped out like that.
Which is
but
amazing.
It's not because I'm a better man in terms of resisting temptation. It's because I don't put myself in those positions where temptation can come.
Yes.
So the example I give is I went on a Royal Caribbean cruise with my family. My best friend was there. I had a girlfriend at the time, and we'd connected with these other group of young people as well, Americans, Canadians, all of this stuff. And there was this Canadian girl. There was very clearly chemistry. We got on very well. We just clicked. And this was the last night. I've been resisting it because the cruise was like a week. It was the last night. Everybody was like, we're going to do an all-nighter in the hot tub on the top deck of the ship, right? In their underwear, they're smoking a weed vape that one of the guys snuck onto the ship. So everyone's getting down to their underwear. My boy was there. And she was like, Kit, you're not coming in. And I knew
done.
If I get in that hot tub, it's not guaranteed that something will happen, but I know that I would want something to happen.
Yeah.
And I know that post that, I'm going back home to my girlfriend.
Yeah. And I love
so
that.
I felt like, I've never felt like such a loser in my life. But imagine 12. So yeah, on the ship, everyone's getting into the hot tub, going to do it all-nighter. Kit, am I going to get, they're saying, Kit, you're going to get in. And I never felt like such a loser because I was like, I'm going to go to bed. And
you
I
have
left.
To be boring.
And I left, and I remember lying on my deck, lying in my room on the deck, just like looking up the ceiling, like,
yep.
Like, I feel like such a loser right now.
Yep.
So when it comes to, and this is why I asked about the boundary, because it could have been, I could have gotten that hot tub and nothing would have happened. Or I could have got in and it would have led somewhere and then I would have ended up down that path. But I just didn't flip that coin because that was a boundary that I set.
I love that.
And so, and it's not because I'm, like I said, like, I'm very self-disciplined in that sense, but I'm not going to pretend that I can't give into temptation because I'm still human. And so sometimes when it comes to, and this is why I asked about the boundary, when you have a relationship, having those boundaries is a way to make sure that you don't do something that's going to jeopardize that. And so that's why guys don't like it when girls are going on girls trips or when they're, center of attention with their like arse out and all of this
By the way,
stuff.
my arse is not out.
I'm not saying it is.
Say it.
I'm just saying just in general.
I don't want to
I'm talking in general.
I'm twerking, I cheat on men. Please.
No, I'm just saying in general. Now, I think there is an element for me. I wouldn't be with someone who I don't trust, but part of me trusting that person is they understand where maybe those temptations come in and they know how to set the boundaries for themselves that serves the relationship because that's what I'm doing on my side.
Yeah.
So it's interesting when you say, if you'd set that boundary, that it wouldn't have happened.
It wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have happened because I would have nipped it in the bud. And this is what I'm talking about in terms of subconscious behavior, where it's like, I'm not even realizing what's going on inside of me. I'm not realizing that, as in, I know I'm married and this is a boundary that should be set, but I'm not even realizing that even me letting him come into my classroom is a slippery slope. Do you get it? Him coming into my classroom when he shouldn't be? I'm allowing it because it's cool. Hey, we're going to have a chat. No. If you know the way I am now, I'm so careful with men now. I'm so clear with my tone now in terms of what I'm bringing to whatever this is, in terms of friendship, relationship, anything. Like, I don't play. I can clock when a guy is trying to cross that boundary with me. For example, more recently, I had a person at work who, being very careful here, who is married, in a relationship, and they started telling me their marital issues.
Okay.
And I had to tell them straight away, I'm so sorry, sir, but I can't engage in such conversations like that. Because again, I'm aware as well that I'm attractive. Why are you telling me about your relationship problems? I wasn't there when you guys got married.
Interesting.
Don't tell me, you're making it out like you want my perspective. But the truth is, if you want my perspective, at least put me in a position where I know you and your wife. So it's a fair perspective. But I don't know your wife.
Interesting.
Why are you telling? And then you try to ask for my number. Do you get it?
Okay. So yeah, I think it's funny because there's like areas that are grey that it could be a friendly thing and then it could be a romantic thing. So like when you said about the guy comes to your classroom, I think if you came to your classroom because you guys got on and there was a level of friendship, I think that's fine. But the moment he was like, I find you attractive, that's what it is.
Now I know what's going on.
So with this guy at work, I understand there's nothing wrong with you setting that boundary. He may have just been asking from a woman's perspective. I understand what you're saying. You should know her as well. But if he's asking for a woman's perspective, that could have been genuine.
It could have been genuine.
But then asking for your number would be like, why do you need my number? Like, what for? And that's when, you know, there could be a boundary. But I hear that.
So I'm even still covering for him. Like, do you know what I mean? Nah, I just knew, like, and I'm in those kind of situations a lot where I have to put up the boundary with the man. I have to. Men sometimes just don't respect their partners behind their backs, man. Just don't have their partners' backs. It's sad. It's sad.
I think that's just people.
Do you know what?
I think it's just people.
It's people.
Because
it's people.
Because, you know, I think a lot of guys would say that, you know, there's some things that girls do that he feels that's just disrespectful for our relationship. You're not thinking about me. And if he expresses that, she can say, I'm not saying this is you, but she can say, why are you insecure? Why are you controlling? Blah, 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 blah. And so I think those people, and I think it's one of those things where whenever you get into a new relationship with someone, like every relationship is unique in itself because those two people are unique. And so you have to communicate, like, what is it that we can accept? What is it that we don't accept? What are some boundaries that we have? So like personally for me, I don't mind if my girl goes a night out. Some guys don't like that. But that's because I know she's more of an introvert. So I know she's not going to be out here doing the most.
Oh, bless her. Yeah. You know her personality.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But I've never been that person. But I guess because my background, I'm an actor primarily. So I've had to work with, you know, being intimate with people on stage or on screen. Ooh. So it takes a lot of, you know, I come from a very open-minded industry. So I think to engage, to just operate in that industry, you have to be very secure in yourself. So I think that's probably why I'm like, look, if at the end of the day, if I trust you, I trust you, right? But there might be things, if I feel that it's a bit of a disrespect to relationship, then that has to be communicated. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm aware. Like I definitely disrespected my relationship. You know, it's not something I'm proud of. And just to be clear to the audience, you know, me sharing my story is not to say I'm okay with it or that it's good. It's just to say that I'm willing to have the uncomfortable conversation. I'm willing to talk about how I got there because, you know, I follow a psychologist called Esther Perel.
Oh, I've read both her books twice. I love her.
You know, 80% of people are affected by infidelity. So I love what she says. It's not just a few bad apples then.
It's true.
Majority of people are doing it, but we don't have the conversations as to how we get there because they're so taboo and people are so triggered by it. So that's what happened when I went on another podcast because I shared my story. People are so triggered by infidelity already as a subject that they're just throwing things at me, forgetting that it doesn't make their relationship a fair proof. Coming from me does not safeguard you. Your partner could be doing it right now as we speak because it's 80%.
It's true. Let me ask you a question then on that.
Ask me.
Would you forgive a man that you're with if he cheated on you?
No.
Really?
No. Now that I know what it takes and how intentional you have to be to do it. No.
Wow.
No, like as in because I've done it, it doesn't mean that
I'm not saying because you've done it.
No. Okay, fair enough.
I'm saying
I don't want a society that condones cheating. Do you get what I'm saying? As in, I wouldn't forgive it. No, because I've done it myself. I know the kind of steps it takes to even get there.
So here's what I would say. I hear that. Two things on that. One, I think there's a difference if it's something that's ongoing and it happened one time.
Fair.
If it happened one time, might have been a mistake. Ongoing is intentional. Right? Both still cheating, but I think there's a difference. Also, I think they're not all the time, but there can be a big difference when a woman cheats compared to a man.
Yeah. I do agree with that.
And I'm not saying, I'm not condoning this.
Yeah.
A man can sleep with another woman and still be fully for his wife.
How? You know what? I've come to accept that that's a part of men that we as women may never understand.
I don't think women will.
And I've learned to accept that.
Yeah.
I think it is genuinely
with women,
different.
I don't think it's the same. I think if a woman has got to a point
of cheating,
where she is willing to share herself with another man, it's because there is a level of emotionality there that she's built with that man and that has checked out of her current relationship.
Yeah. I was so checked out. By the time I had stepped out of my marriage, I had let my husband know that I wasn't happy. I had let him know that I was thinking about leaving this relationship. I just obviously wasn't honest about what on earth was going on. It's like I gave him bits. Like I'd let him know that there is someone I've met at work. I kind of find him attractive. I don't really know what to do, but I'm not going anywhere.
You didn't say that though.
No, I said I found him attractive, and then he asked me, "What is it that you find attractive?" And I couldn't tell him because I
you said to him that there was someone at work you found attractive?
Yeah, I told my ex-husband.
Was this before you slept with him?
Before I stepped out. So then what happened was... Oh, sorry. Yeah, I've not given you everything.
Wait, no, the reason
There's so much to
Hold
this.
on, the reason I'm saying, because I think that's harder than saying to your husband, you've let yourself go, I love you, but I'm not finding you attractive. And you're like, that's really hard. But then you came out here now and just said that you told your husband that you're attracted to a guy at work. That's a way harder conversation to have.
Yeah. But I had to have it because of how as in, I'm on the edge. Do you get it? That's what
but if you'd had the conversation about his weight
thing, I'm not on the edge. This is just a difficult thing for me.
I know, but if you'd had the conversation with the weight,
if I don't tell you this, our marriage could end. I need to tell you. That's more so where it is.
Well, technically the weight thing is what led to it ending, because if that conversation had been had and he'd worked himself and got into shape.
I mean, I did have a conversation. I just said, babe, could we work on going to the gym?
Yeah, but you said that you could...
I'm not attracted to you anymore.
Yeah, but when I said that's the conversation that you need to have, babe, I love you, but the way you've let yourself go, I don't feel this attraction for you.
Yeah.
You're like, I can't do that, it's too difficult.
Yeah.
But then you've just said that you told your man that there's someone else you find attractive in a space that you're going to every day. That's way harder.
Yeah, no, you're right. Okay, no, according to you, that's what you feel, that those conversations...
You don't think that's harder?
I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is I had the conversation with my ex-husband about his weight. What I couldn't say to him to his face is, I don't find you attractive anymore. I couldn't say that to him. I couldn't let such words utter. But yes, I did tell him that there is someone at work I found attractive, because it's not, if I say there's someone at work I found attractive, it's not me saying that you're not attractive to me anymore. It's just me saying I found someone at work attractive. If I now tell you I don't find you attractive, but I found someone, bro, I'm breaking your heart like crazy.
I think it's way worse. I would rather someone say, hey Kit, I feel like you've kind of let yourself go. That I'm not as attracted to you as I was before, rather than, hey babe, just so you know, there's someone at work that I'm attracted to.
Yeah, but of course you're making the conversation sound like that's how I approached him, and that's not how I approached him.
No, I'm just saying,
hey babe, do you know what I mean? I did it with tact.
I'm not.
You understand?
I understand you did it with tact.
And even the conversation about the weight was with as much tact as possible, which is what I'm saying, that he would then rebut and say, well, if you love me, you'll love my weight. So it became a conversation that could not be had anymore.
No, because you didn't. No, because you didn't say to him that, babe, I'm not as attracted to you because of this.
Okay, so you're basically saying that you think if I told my ex-husband, I do not find you attractive anymore, that he would have been like, right, I need to fix this for my wife.
I think if you had communicated to him that you don't have as much attraction to him, and that you're not attracted to him, and that if
if I talk about your weight, I'm basically saying that. I am bringing it up as an issue.
You didn't say that though. But it is, for you, it was an issue, right?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If I'm bringing up your weight,
what I'm trying to say is
that I have an issue. I don't need to hurt you with my words. And
you don't think you telling him that you find someone else attractive at work hurt him?
But they said, of course it's going to hurt him, but I had to have the conversation. I don't have to tell you, babe, because you've gotten big, I don't find you attractive anymore. That is horrible to say.
So here's the thing. Here's where you're wrong. Because if you'd had that conversation, this might not have happened.
No. Don't do that.
It might not
and this is what a lot of people do. You have to remember that you don't know his character.
No, hold on. I didn't say that it wouldn't have.
You've made it very binary. If I had this conversation, that wouldn't happen. No, that's not true.
No, you didn't hear me. I didn't say it would have happened. I said this might not have happened.
But I doubt it.
That's fine. But what I'm trying to say is, when it came to a conversation with his weight, which led to you looking elsewhere, you didn't do everything you could here to communicate that.
Yeah.
Right? Because it was a difficult conversation.
Yeah.
I understand that. I'm not saying it's not a difficult conversation. But you telling him, right, that you are attracted to someone else, when you even said yourself, you've already had this conversation about his weight, that's a way more difficult conversation to have.
Okay. But that's the way it went. So what now?
No, I'm just That's what I'm saying.
Do you get what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
Because it just feels like you're doing that typical thing that people do where they want to get onto you about the bad decisions that you've made. It's like, bro, I'm aware.
I'm not
like,
judging
I don't know
you.
what more you want. I'm happy for you that you're a very faithful man. You're principled. Well done. Do you get what I'm saying? But like,
I'm not judging you.
It's the way it went. I couldn't tell him to his face that I don't find him attractive. Therefore, I didn't want to do that.
I understand. I'm not judging you, right? And I'm not saying here like I'm perfect. I'm not perfect either. Okay, like I feel there's a little bit of projection. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying that is a way more difficult. Like the fact that I'm trying to understand why that was a conversation you could have and this was a conversation you couldn't have. Because I'm saying if you had that conversation, this might not have happened. You might have had this conversation and it still might have happened. Because you might have been like, well, I'm sorry, babe, you should accept me for me. And it still might have happened. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm trying to understand why this is more why this was easier for you to do than this, especially when this conversation.
I can't tell you why it was easier. Okay, it's just the way it went. Do you get what I'm saying? I've literally explained to you. I couldn't tell my ex-husband to his face that I don't find you attractive. I couldn't tell him that. And this is what I'm trying to say to you. I couldn't tell him that. If I'm even coming to you and I'm saying, babe, can we go to the gym? We've got a personal trainer. You're forgetting I told you laughed at me for running in the rain. You understand? So now if I now tell you I'm not attracted to you, what's that going to do?
Why did you tell your husband that you're attracted to another man?
Because I told you I was on the edge at that point. It wasn't a conversation I was going to have. It was a conversation I felt like I have no choice but to have this conversation. But if it was my choice, I wouldn't tell you. Not all truth sets people free. Sometimes your truth exasperates someone's insecurities. They're not at a place to hear it. There's no point. I'm not here trying to be a menace to society. You understand? I was genuinely trying to manage a situation that I had no control over, a situation that I put myself in just in case anyone else wants to get on to me.
No, and I think
a situation that I take responsibility for.
I think where you need credit for sure, right? And this is why I asked. Where you need credit is that you did it before it happened. No,
I'm not asking for credit. Don't give me credit. No, please. No, honestly,
I'm not
don't give me credit.
Here, but I'm
not fishing for credit.
I didn't say you are.
But keep it. Honestly, I don't want it. Keep it. I don't want credit.
I think that
I'm not sitting here looking for a Blue Peter badge like it's cool.
I'm not trying to say that, right? Because you're being very open, honest, you're taking accountability, etc. Right? What I'm saying is you telling him that before it happened shows an intention of you trying to be open and honest with him to make it work. And I'm just saying, for me, I think, because at that point it hadn't happened yet. So I'm like, okay, that's an incredibly difficult conversation. And you did it then because, and correct me if I'm wrong, you did it then because you're like, I'm bringing this to you because I think this could be something that's going to jeopardize our relationship. And I'm like, okay, to me, this seems more difficult to have. And you had the ability and courage to do that.
It wasn't courage.
What was it?
It was fear. It was, I'm about to do a madness. I have to tell you this.
Okay.
This is what I'm saying. Like, because you're obviously hearing the story in the sitting room. Like, do you know what I mean? Just, it's like you're just turning a chapter. You're not thinking about the actual intricacies of being in a marriage. Do you know what I mean? And you're with your partner. They've made it clear they don't want to lose weight. What are you gonna do? Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying?
I'm not judging you.
You're thinking of it so much on principle, and this is such a harder conversation than that one. I cannot tell you why I was able to have this conversation and not that one. All I know is that that's how it went.
I think, I understand. I think understanding that part, and that's not even saying it's right or wrong. I think understanding that part.
Well, there was a point you were like, no, you're wrong. Like
I didn't. No, I never used that word.
We'll roll the tape.
Did I say wrong? What did I say was wrong?
We'll roll the tape.
What did I say was wrong?
When you watch it back, you'll see there was a point you actually said, no, you're wrong.
What did I say was wrong?
You were going on about the whole, this conversation is harder than this conversation. And I'm just like, listen, whether the conversation's hard or easy, I did what I could.
I understand.
My ex-husband, there is no way that man could sit there. Do you know what? There's not even point in me trying to draw him out. But what I'm saying is there was no way that man sat there thinking that the marriage was perfect before he heard the news.
No one's saying that. And I'm not judging you.
And I can't lie to you. If my partner comes to me saying, babe, you know, the whole weight thing, that's enough for me to know, okay, my partner's not happy with my weight. That's enough. If your girlfriend came and said, listen, Kit, could we... like in the gym, would you not think, okay, she's kind of trying to tell me something here?
Maybe I would.
You would.
Maybe
you've already displayed yourself as a man that you know how to hear someone.
Yeah, but you told me that I'm not like most men.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
So now maybe every man would get that.
What? Okay, I'm confused now.
I'm saying, listen, you like, there's a level of subliminal messaging that can happen in that conversation. I'm saying maybe I would get it,
you
but
mean
not
to tell me
would.
if you're skipping through the daisies and living your life with your partner and they turn around and bring up your weight,
I think it's
something that
I think
that
it's
could
different.
be changed. You're telling me you're not gonna think, oh, this could be a
so
problem.
Here's what it is. If she's like, hey, you bring up your weight, etc., that could be, I'm worried about your health, not that I'm not attracted to you anymore. If she said it's
a health scare is a easier conversation to have.
Okay, but I don't think she's
babe,
gonna.
I'm worried about your health.
That doesn't mean. I'm not gonna think that because if my health deteriorates, that she's then gonna leave me or go elsewhere. So that's what I'm saying. It's different, because if she's coming from me like, oh, I've noticed and stuff, like you're getting a bit out of shape, this isn't healthy. I'm like, okay, she's concerned for my health, not because it's affecting her draw to me. If she's saying like,
you don't think
this is affecting,
that would cross your mind? You don't think at all.
If
your girl was to bring up your weight, that you wouldn't think, oh, is she attracted to me? Sometimes a man can go and touch his wife, and just her saying no, he's wondering if he's attracted to her, just from that small rejection.
Okay, but what
you're telling me, if that partner then brings up your weight,
if she comes to me and she's saying about health stuff, about getting into shape, it could be because she's concerned about my health. Fine, right? She's like, babe, I know you should stay on top of this. I'm doing this because I'm worried about your health. Fine. That is not the same as saying, this is making me not that attracted to you. Because if I heard that, 100%, I'd be like, shit.
You would.
I'd have to make a decision. Yeah, but I have to hear that though. I would have to hear that for me to know that's what it is. Otherwise, I might just think she's just looking out for my health. Not because she's not attracted to me anymore.
Listen, my ex-husband knew. Okay?
We don't know what he knew. Only he can speak on that.
Fair enough. Bring him on the show.
I'll
give you his number.
Here's the only thing I would ask in that sense. I know you said like you set the boundary differently. If your relationship, if a man came to you with something that would suggest that he's potentially going to step out, how would you handle that situation, being on the receiving end?
I'll do everything I can to make the relationship work.
Okay.
Everything in my power. And that's because of my experience that I've learned that. Because I have seen, for example, women do things where I'm like, why would you do that? Why would you put your man through that? You're not worried that they could step out. You're not worried that they could go elsewhere because, you know, it's like I'm trying to give okay, the most typical example, for example, that a lot of women do is the sex thing, like withholding sex for a while from their partner.
Sure.
And, you know, for me, I'm just like, you have to be careful. You have to be so careful. Like, you have to be so intentional in relationships. You just do. If my partner comes and says there's an issue, I'm working on it. I'm going to do everything I can. I know I can't give you 100% of what you need, but I'm going to work to give you as much as I can. You know, let's try and get to 100, but
that's what building a life partner and that relationship is about.
Hope you really enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full episode where that clip is from, then I want you to click right here where you can watch the full episode. And if you're ready to claim your man today, enroll in my program below, and I'll see you there. Wishing you an amazing day.